Welcome to the Breakfast Show on Faith FM with Skafy and Lindsay. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts.
You're listening all across Australia on 87.6, 87.8 or 88 depending on where you are, or you can listen to us through our Faith FM app wherever you are in the world.
And if you are listening live, today is Monday the 16th of February 2026. I'm in the studio with Lindsay and with producer Sandy. Good morning to you, Sandy.
Good morning.
And good morning to you, Lindsay.
Good morning.
All right, let's start with sharing our gratitudes today. So I'm grateful that yesterday I had a really nice day. I went to Sydney. I took my a friend with me. We visited one of my favorite places. Have you been to the Maritime Museum?
I have not, but I'm pretty sure my husband and my son have gone down there and had a great time.
It's so cool. You can go inside a retired submarine and a retired destroyer. And we had there was this tour guide that was telling all of these funny, interesting stories about it. And then when we were coming back home, something happened. My friend, he was studying the Bible with some of his friends. Actually, one of his friends that lives in Dubai. And he says, hey, Skafy, would you like to participate in our Bible study as we drive home? And I said, yeah, great. Like, there's few things that I like more than having a good chat, good conversation while I'm driving and traveling and driving a long distance. So we had this Bible study about really just like various topics about the things that his friend was studying. And that was such a beautiful time. We had such a great time. And I'm very, very grateful for God to be able to spend such a good day, enjoying resting and also talking about Jesus with someone that, it's in another country, but is really keen and eager to learn more about the Bible.
That's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
What about you, ladies? What are you grateful for? Tell me.
Oh, I'm grateful for catching up with good friends. Yesterday, I finally called a friend after 9 months of speaking to her last. The last time I saw her was at her wedding, and now she's 6 months pregnant. So that was a really nice surprise when we finally got to catch up yesterday. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes. What about you, Sandy?
I'm just grateful that I had all of my family home this weekend. My husband's just been back from travelling over to Perth, and my young adult daughter is always here, there and everywhere. So it was nice to have the five of us back together again.
Oh, nice.
So
yes.
good.
I imagine that, as, our children start to create their own wings and doing their own things, it would be quite a strange feeling when, like, the house is empty. Like, where am I?
So, okay, how many have we got for dinner tonight? Is it 5? Is it 4? Is it 3? How many?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. And I'm sure, I'm very, very sure that you had an amazing time with your family. There's another thing that happened to me yesterday. It was not so pleasant, but I'm taking it in a positive way.
What's that?
So I went to this favorite Chinese restaurant of mine.
Okay.
In Sydney, and for some reason, I decided to ask for my plate to come with medium hot.
Oh no.
I did not know why I did that.
Right.
But the medium hot had literally one entire metric cup full of Sichuan red peppercorns.
Oh, no.
And I was already traumatized with these peppercorns. So basically, out of my 45 minutes eating that plate, about 35 minutes, 90% of the time I was just like picking it out because otherwise I was spitting fire through my mouth.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And we are going to start our program, Lindsay, with a quiz question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think I am.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, ready or not, I don't think I have a choice now.
That's right. Okay. If a man desires to be first, what will happen according to Jesus? If a man desires to be first, what will happen according to Jesus? 0491 064 669. Listeners, please send us your answers. Lindsay's got it. Skafy's got it. We would like to hear from you as well. If a man desires to be first, what will happen according to Jesus? If you need a clue, mark 935 and send us your answers to 0491 064 669.
Well, thank you very much. That was a Good question. This is actually a pretty cool statement of Jesus. So
It is,
we get to
yes.
talk a little bit about it when we come. Today is Monday, Lindsay. We also have, after our Bible study, we're going to have at 7:35 a.m., we're going to have Justin Lohman joining us this morning. We're going to be talking about a lot of excess, actually, of potatoes
Yep.
in Germany.
Yes.
And we're also going to be talking a little bit about the Olympics, the Winter Olympics
Oh, okay. All right.
today.
Cool.
But let's get into our Bible study here today. We are looking at the story of Joseph. Last time that we said, we were talking about, why did Joseph ended up choosing Simeon to be locked up in jail. Then, the brethren came back. They talked to their father Jacob, and Jacob was really reluctant to send Benjamin back to them, but he eventually sent Benjamin back, Joseph's younger brother, that Joseph wanted to see, that he was longing for, he was missing. And we are picking up from that scene, when Joseph was interacting now more openly with his brethren. He was revealing himself. So let's read verse 16 in chapter 43, please. Let's start from that.
43 verse 16 says, When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, Take these men to my home, and slaughter an animal and make ready, for these men will dine with me at noon. Then the man did as Joseph ordered, and the man brought the men into Joseph's house. Now the men were afraid, because they said, It is because of the money which was returned in our sacks the first time that we are brought in, so that he may make a case against us and seize us to take us as slaves with our donkeys. Then they drew near to the steward of Joseph's house. They talked with him at the door of the house and said, O sir, we indeed came down the first time to buy food. But it happened, when we came to the encampment, that we opened our sacks, and there each man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight, so we have brought it back in our hand. And we have brought down other money in our hands to buy food. We do not know who put our money in our sacks. But he said, Peace be with you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. I have your money. Then he brought Simeon out to them. So the man brought...
Now just a quick pause
Sure.
here, Lindsay. Who was saying this? Who was saying your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks?
He was a servant of Joseph.
Yeah, he was the servant. He said, look, I got your money. I got the receipt. I issued it. So if you got money there, it's because of your God and the God of your father. But don't you find interesting that the Egyptian, who was the servant of Joseph, was speaking so freely about the God of their father and their blessings? Why do you think is that?
I feel like if he's been working for Joseph all these years, and Joseph is very clearly connected to God, like that's showing through in the way he deals with his people. Like, it's a really good witness to his servants. Yeah, I think they have a good idea of the nature and the character of God because of Joseph's witness.
Yeah. Joseph shared about God with them, and it's amazing to see how he says, your God and the God of your father. So it might be the case that this Egyptian did not necessarily believe or follow
Yeah.
that same God.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but at
He
the
knows
same,
enough about him.
yeah, he knows about him. He has like these positive things that say, hey, look, your God is a God that blesses
Yeah, absolutely.
people. So your God has blessed you. Like, cheer up. So let's keep going to the next one. It would have been just before, so relieving for them when they were all worried, all concerned about everything. They entered the house thinking that, hey, we're all going to become slaves here. There's an occasion against us. And now they are saying, hey, what? Wait a minute. What? Our God has blessed us? Like,
Yeah, no
our
way.
money was received?
No. Like, these guys have a guilty conscience, and they have had a guilty conscience for a long time. Like, they know, hey, we have sold our brother as a slave. He might have died between now and then. Like, some of us are murderers. Some of us have sacked whole towns. Like, they are not good guys and they know it. And they'd be thinking to themselves, yeah, I don't think that's what happened here. Like, why would our God bless us?
Yeah.
But in a sense, it was God blessing them, wasn't it?
It was. Absolutely was.
That shows us the grace of God and the grace through Joseph that comes from God.
But you know what? God also blessed them because they were honest. Because I think that there's another element why Joseph was testing them with that money.
Okay.
Because, they were the one, Judah was the one who says, hey, you know what? We'd rather have $30,
Yeah.
30 silver coins than have our brother. And Joseph was testing them and thinking, hey, are they going to also leave Simeon here? And thinking, it's better for us to stay with that money, which was more than 30 silver coins, and just let our brother Simeon rot like we did with Joseph.
Yeah.
Let's just get away with it. Let's not come back with it. So for them to have brought it back, it took them courage as well to say, look, maybe we can be falsely accused. So it was, again, we spoke about that element of when God entrusts us with money, he also has a test to check the state of our heart, to see if money is an idol to us, to see if we're being honest with it. This is where tithes come in. It's almost like every month God does the same thing that Joseph does. He says, oh, you know what, let me put some the tithe money back into people's purses and pockets and bank accounts and just see what they're going to do with them.
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So verse 25.
Verse 25 says, verse 24. So the men brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet, and he gave their donkeys feed. Then they made the present ready for Joseph's coming at noon, for they had heard that he would eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present which was in their hand in the house, and bowed down before him to the earth. Then he asked them about their well-being, and said, Is your father well? The old man of whom you spoke, is he still alive? And they answered, Your servant our father is in good health. He is still alive. And they bowed their heads down and prostrated themselves. Then he lifted his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, Is this your younger brother of whom you spoke to me? And he said, God be gracious to you, my son. Now his heart yearned for his brother. So Joseph made haste and sought somewhere to weep. And he went into his chamber and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out, and he restrained himself and said, Serve the bread.
Yeah.
I love this. This is so funny.
It is, isn't it? What sort of touches you? What do you like about that scene?
I mean, so they're ready to have this feast, and Joseph comes out and he sees all his brothers there, and he sees his favorite youngest brother that he hasn't seen since this brother was probably like 5 years old or something, like little baby brother. They have a special bond because they're full brothers compared to everybody else. This is the one he's been wanting to make sure is safe from his older brothers, like wondering, hey, have they treated him just as badly as they treated me? Because we're both the sons of the same favorite mother. And he's safe and he's there, but he can't like openly show himself and say, Benjamin, I love you. It's so good to see you again. Like he has to just hold himself back. And so he goes off into his bedroom and he runs away from all of them and he just like weeps and he's just so overcome with emotion. And then he has to pull himself together and be like, I leave guests hanging every day. Let's eat the food now.
Yeah. Well, that is a very touching scene.
Yeah.
And I cannot help, I have 2 children myself.
Yeah.
And for me, both of them are so cute. But I love to see how they relate to each other as well, and how my older daughter, and how she loves her younger brother as well. Even though he's annoying to her and he does all these things, and sometimes, she just has to have a bit of a break. They love each other so much. They play so well. And I always imagine if that cute little brother that is her little best friend, he's taken away from her.
Yeah.
And I think that there's also a very special bond here, because Joseph was, from my understanding, he was do you have that impression as well that Joseph was a fair bit older than Benjamin, or do you think that they were about the same age?
Yeah, my imagination would be at least 10 years older.
Yeah, in my imagination, it would be something like that as well.
Yeah.
And there's that very special bond of saying your baby brother. And look, Joseph was rejected and abandoned by his own brothers. Do you have an idea? Probably you do. I don't know, of like the kind of trauma that this causes to a person, so that the people who are supposed to be, and we're talking about a Semitic culture where the family clan is supposed to, their job is to be by your side no matter what.
Yeah, and more so brother to brother than like child and father. Like the brotherly or the sibling connection is supposed to be stronger than the parent and child connection in that time, from what I understand.
And even from the perspective of today's Middle Eastern culture, often these family bonds are so important that you're kind of expected to be beside your family and to support them no matter what. Even if you disagree with them, it's
Have them
us against the world.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You know, like, look, let's be united here, and then we talk about our differences. But before the world, no, we're together here.
United
and then,
front. You can fight it out at home.
Yes. And then when the people that were supposed to defend you, to protect you, to help you, they're older brothers as well. They have this responsibility of taking care of the younger brothers, which Joseph was, the younger brother of all these brothers. When they actually hate you and they actually were the ones conspiring against you, and then pretending that nothing happened.
Yeah.
You know, the only one brother that hasn't caused any harm to Joseph was
true.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
So imagine, you know, throughout Joseph's healing process, you know, that he would have gone through, you know, the memories that he would have for Benjamin and how much he longed to see the only brother that actually loved him genuinely.
Yeah. Just always pure and innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can understand, you know, these tears of emotion.
He's weeping.
When he's weeping, just by seeing Benjamin, you know, and he's there, and the brother brought him back, and he was well, and he's trying to process all these things, and I think that he's looking at his brothers and saying, look, these are different men from the men that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I forgot now how long, when they sent me out. You know, these are men that were, you know, but the story's not over yet.
No.
The story's not over yet, because
just beginning.
It's just beginning. Joseph is not done yet with the tests, the scientific experiments, that the relational experience that he's running to really discern who his brothers are in reality.
Yeah.
So let's read verse 31, please.
Verse 31 says, "Then he washed his face and came out, and he restrained himself and said, 'Serve the bread.' So they set him a place by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves." So 3 different tables. Because the Egyptians could not eat food with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. Just a side note here, Egyptians were like super racist.
Yeah. Probably in the Bible, not talking about modern day Egyptians,
but
talking about
at this point in
Egyptians in, you know, well, how long was that? Like 6,000 years ago?
4,000 or 5,000 years ago at this point, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So they were absolutely very, they were people with all kinds of prejudices. All kinds of prejudices.
Yeah.
And actually, this is actually going to play out to be a blessing to the family of Jacob.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because they're going to be leaving them alone to develop, to grow in an area. They say, because Joseph would, you know, come to them and say, hey, by the way, when you come to Egypt to live here with me, just, you know, giving a bit of a spoiler, tell them that you are herdsmen, that you are shepherds, because the Egyptians hate shepherds. They have such a big prejudice against shepherds, and that means that they're going to leave you alone.
Yep. Like, you can live in the land, but they won't have anything to do with you, which would mean that the Israelites would maintain their own culture, their own religious practices, largely, and they would be like a subgroup inside of the geography of Egypt, but they'd be a completely different class
very
of people.
separate.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Okay, Producer Sandy, can you please give us now the answer to the quiz question?
I can indeed. We had correct answers on the text line from Sherry and David. The question was, if a man desires to be first, what will happen according to Jesus? And he will be the last and the servant of all.
Yes.
Awesome.
So things are a bit upside down in God's kingdom, really, aren't they?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the greatness in the kingdom of heaven is about humility. It's about
Absolutely.
service to
Yeah.
others, not to be served. And this definitely goes against the logic of Satan, and that definitely goes against the logic that we often see prevailing in this world as well. It's
Absolutely.
an upside down logic.
Yes. All right. Here's another upside down question for you.
Okay.
Paul said in 2 Corinthians 8 that Jesus Christ was rich, but for our sake became what? Paul said in 2 Corinthians 8 that Jesus Christ was rich, but for our sake became what? Lindsay and Skafy have got it correct. Send us your answers to 0491064669. Paul said in 2 Corinthians 8 that Jesus Christ was rich, but for our sake became what?
Yeah. Thank you very much. This is another very, I like how you said it's a bit of a wild idea when you come to think of it. But we will talk about more later, because I want to go back to the story of Benjamin. Lindsay?
Okay, let's get back into it.
And let's read here from verse 33. Something happens in verse 33 that lets the brothers of Joseph really confused.
Yeah, 100%. Let's read. So, and they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men looked in astonishment at one another. Then he took servings to them from before him, but Benjamin's serving was 5 times as much as any of theirs. So they drank and were merry with him.
Yes. So Joseph organized them sitting at the table according to their order of birth.
Yep, not their order of height, not their order of ugliness or anything like that. But, because, like, you know how sometimes, like, a young guy can look, like, really old and an old person can look pretty young? Like,
Yeah.
I bet some of his brothers were a bit mixed up looking like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
There's no way. There's like 11 of them.
exactly.
There's no way you could find, like, fully grown adult men
And
that you
figure
would
out
know.
who's the oldest.
No, it
Yeah.
would be very hard.
Yeah.
And so they're looking at each other and saying, how did he know?
Like, what? We never
Like-
sit like this.
Yeah, we never see like this. Like, what's going on here? And then he served Benjamin 5 times more food
Yeah.
than to the others. And again, he's just observing.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they going to say? Are they going to be, complaining? Are they going to be angry?
Exactly.
And
Are
you know
they
what?
going to be jealous of him like they were jealous of me? Like, because remember, Joseph was receiving a lot of favor and a lot of extra attention when he was young, and that caused his brothers to be jealous. And so now he's giving that same extra attention to Benjamin in front of his brothers to see, hey, are they going to be jealous?
But you know what? I love their response. Because they feasted and drank freely with him. You know what?
Yeah.
They weren't fazed by it.
They're having a good time.
And isn't it a nice thing as well in the kingdom of heaven? Like, we're talking about the church and everything. Well, there is these narratives, among others, but there's this narrative that people call it the Marxist narrative of the world, where basically you have a war, a great controversy, a great conflict, not between good and evil, but between the the owners of the capital and the proletariat. So like rich people versus rich people versus poor people, or workers versus business owners.
Yeah.
And that kind of, then what they call cultural Marxism extends those dualities, these conflicts between males and females, and people have straight orientation versus people that have homosexual orientation, and basically dividing society in terms of us and versus them.
Yeah, and color lines and all
Color lines, and immigrants versus non-immigrants, and Aborigines and versus Australians, and all kinds of us versus them
always
mentalities here. But in the kingdom of heaven, it's just not so at all.
Yeah.
Kingdom of heaven, these differences, like if you see that someone is more, for example, blessed than you in one area, perhaps financially, it's great. You're celebrating for them. And this is the thing, like, we as humanity, we lost, if we ever had it, apart from the kingdom of God, that idea of, hey, just be happy for the success of others. Why do we have to hate others or to be jealous of them when they have something that we don't have? Why? There's no explanation to it.
There's
This
no
is
reason.
It's sin. You know,
Yeah.
why do you want to kill your brother? Why do you want to desire what they have? And that can take different forms. You know, it can take forms, for example, of people that have children versus people that don't have children. You know, I know people who could not have children that are perfectly content and satisfied with that. Even though they wanted to have children, they don't. They accepted that. And they try to do their best to conceive or to adopt a child. It didn't happen, but they're satisfied in the Lord. Whereas other people, they cannot see a mother nursing a child that they confess, like, I feel so angry at God, and I feel so angry at life. I feel that God owed me this to me, and so on. You have, for example, single people versus people that are in relationships. And then they look at that, say, why can I not have that which everybody else appears to have? Look at that. They are, I am prettier than them, and why can't I have a boyfriend, a girlfriend?
Yeah.
And they can. And we're just kind of we're always, we're capitalizing on that one thing that we do not have.
Yeah.
And we're feeling jealous because of what that person has, even though you don't really know the details. Maybe.
Exactly. And
what God gives is that sense of contentment. Have you ever felt tempted, Lindsay, yourself, to be bitter with God or to be unhappy with God about something that you didn't have?
Yeah.
And how did you deal with that? Like, what's the internal dialogue that goes in your head when you see, someone having that which you really, really want to, but you don't have?
I think there have been moments where I've been like pretty upset with God. I remember there was even one time where I was like, God, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And then like a week later, my life was crumbling. I was like, I need you back. Come back, please. Help me out. So like, I've definitely had those moments of wrestling and being upset and letting God know exactly how I feel. But you know what? God can take that. He can take hearing exactly how you feel. So I don't feel particularly bad letting him know how I feel because he wants to know what's in our heart, right?
Yeah.
So long as I'm like being like, God, please help me out, like, and not just pushing him away sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I have handled it.
Yeah. I had a situation where recently that happened to me that, I started to kind of become jealous or coveting something that I didn't have. So I have, I am blessed to have like lots of friends, and some of my friends are friends with of substance. They have a lot of wealth, and some of my wealthy friends, they have friends that are even wealthier.
Oh wow.
Than my own friends and my own family. So it's a kind of a level of wealth that I'm not even accustomed to.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's like hundreds of millions of
Wow.
dollars, kind of a lifestyle.
Wow.
And I got invited there, and and I was looking at these amazing houses. This one particular house. I was in the United States visiting some of my family there, and some of my extended family invited us to go to this house of this man, and he had this amazing house. Now, this house is a ski in, ski out house in the mountains.
Okay.
In Utah, they have the house is like 3 massive floors, and the entire side of the house didn't basically have walls. It had like windows,
Just window everywhere.
and you can just see the amazing view for
Yeah.
the mountains, the snow, and then he's the owner of the house, who was like actually, by the way, an amazing Christian man, like so hospitable, so humble.
Yeah.
And he was showing us, like he has this swimming pool, this massive swimming pool that is a spa that has like this button that you press, and there's this turbojet that flows from it.
Bubble
and
bath.
There's bubble bath, and you can swim indefinitely.
Oh, wow.
It was really amazing. And I remember thinking at this moment, saying, "Wow, this is such a great lifestyle." And I was thinking here, should I, instead of being a gospel worker or Bible worker, should I just go back into,
Finance.
investment world, into finance? And, because in my mind, I said, look, I was in that track, in the lifestyle. That
You
was
could
the
have gotten there.
lifestyle. That's right. That was the lifestyle that I was in before God called me into, learning more about the Bible and sharing the Bible with people. And I was thinking, hey, I was thinking in my mind, maybe I can still do this, but then it would be nice. Maybe I can just, go back to that same kind of occupation and, make more money so I can have, nicer things and more beautiful things and all these kinds of things. And I was talking to God about it, and in my conversation with God, I was saying, "Hey, Lord, what do you think about that plan?" And then I could tell that there was a tip of jealousy in my heart, for wanting this, because at the same time, like, what is the cost to have that life? What is the cost in terms of spending time with your family, or spending time with God, or being able and being free to go to people's homes and open the Bible with them, and to pray with them and to care for them? This wealth doesn't come without a lot of sacrifices in many other areas.
Exactly.
And as I was talking to God, saying, "God, can you please help me navigate this? Can you please help me overcome this jealousy?" And Jesus told me something that to me made the entire difference. He says, "Joseph, you have to look that I have made you wealthy. I have made you even more wealthy than this man. It's just that you're not focusing on that." And I was like, what is that, Lord? It says, "I have given you a wealth in Christian experience that this man didn't have." And it's true, that man, as amazing as he did not have the Christian experience that I had.
Sure.
And from a Christian experience perspective, I was thinking, who are the billionaires of the world from a Christian experience perspective, not according to the goods of this world? I look at the Apostle Paul, for example, and say, look, I think the Apostle Paul is a spiritually speaking, a billionaire.
Yeah.
With the experiences that he had. Yeah. And when I look at my own life from a spiritual perspective, I can see, like, wow, God, you have made me a millionaire, spiritual millionaire, not in terms of the goods of this earth, but in terms of the experience that I have, and the knowledge that God has given me about Him, the ability to and the opportunity to share that with other people. And to me, so to me, the key that I learned to not be bitter, not be greedy or bitter against God for the things that I don't have, is actually to actually look at the things that you do have and really prize that. So, for example, I mentioned before, a lot of people that are single, they often feel bad, particularly at a certain age. Like, why is all of my friends getting married? And why have all my friends having children? Why can all my friends have a boyfriend, a girlfriend that, they like, and not me? Is anything wrong with me, Lord? But at the same time, God is saying here, hey, but I am with you, and you, and your singleness, yes, there are some challenges about it, but there are also some blessings about it. The blessings of freedom, of organizing your time the way that you see best, by having God as your companionship in that moment.
Yeah.
Jesus himself, you are in good company. Jesus himself was single, and did so by choice. So it's really about, okay, what is the thing that I am bitter with God against? But instead of complaining of the things that I do not have, what are the positives that I do have about it? The Apostle Paul himself, he mentions, when he was talking about people remaining single or not marrying in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, he says, those who are unmarried, I wish that you can remain the way that I am, because when you're not married, you actually can dedicate more time to the Lord. Yep. You don't have to worry about the well-being of another person that's living with you, which will be time consuming. So you can actually focus on the positive. You can actually serve God more and more freely than other people. So it's really about being content to say, hey, this is what God has given. And the brothers of Joseph were there. Yes, Benjamin has 5 times more, but you know what? We have enough food to eat as well. So instead of criticizing Benjamin, why don't we enjoy the food that we do have?
They were all having a feast at the Prime Minister of Egypt / the whole world, his house. They were all there having a feast. Yeah, so what? The youngest brother has 5 times more food sitting in front of him. Can he eat it all? Probably not, but it's there. They were all at the same place having the same feast. Yeah. And that's the same as us. We're all around the same table of God. We're all his sons and daughters. We're all loved by him. We all experience various blessings from him, some the same, some different, some more looking than others, but we're all blessed by God. We're all chosen and loved by him.
That's right. And look, and there is going to be a place for where all of these differences will disappear one day. All this inequality that exists today in terms of health, in terms of money, in terms of everything, when we get to the kingdom of heaven, which is just around the corner, all of these things, they won't matter anything anymore. Because we will be living in a new world, in a new economy, with a new order of things, where there is abundance of all levels for everyone, and nobody will be lacking anything anymore. It's just a temporary thing, just a temporary situation, whatever it is. So let me know, radio friend. Now, have you struggled with something? What is one thing in your life that you have questioned God? Why can so-and-so have that and not me? Have you had that experience? How did that make you feel? Did you feel bitter against God? Did you feel resentful against God? Did you feel that God, as if God owed you that thing? And if you look at what you actually do have, how can you be grateful for that? That you do have? Well, let us know here, 0491. Oh, I'm getting the wrong number here. Am I? 0491 064 669. That is our text line. So text us here, 0491 064 669.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Very good, Lindsay. Thank you so much to participating in that. This was a bit of a deep conversation, I think. Nobody, a lot of people, they don't really feel comfortable about talking about jealousy. But jealousy is something, if it was not part of the human experience, the 10th commandment wouldn't be
coveting.
Thou shalt not coveting, and perhaps the most important of all the commandments.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you can manage that one, do not covet, do not be jealous of other people's things, then you're probably not going to be stealing their stuff. You're not going to be lying about things. You're not going to be taking their spouse. Like, a lot of the other commandments are easily kept if you can manage to keep do not covet.
And the do not covet is the only commandment that operates within the realm of the heart, of the mind. And
everything
that's why
else
it's
is
so
like
important.
outward actions. Yeah.
So if you'd like to learn, if you enjoyed that conversation, and if you're enjoying these Bible studies, text us here with hashtag beginnings. Our number is 0491 064 669, and we will send you an ebook about the story of Genesis, all the way from the creation until the times of the kings. It's called hashtag beginnings. The book is Patriarchs and Prophets, and we'll send you a free copy of that book if you text us now to 0491 064 669. You can learn more, and you can become yourself also a millionaire, spiritual wise. That's the kind of wealth and rich that I aspire the most, and I think that's the best one, and it's in everybody's reach.
Just on that briefly, there's a lady I follow on Instagram. She talks about Instagram growth strategies and things, but she's also become a millionaire in the last few years. Okay. And she's a Christian, and she follows biblical principles. And something that she posted about recently was that before she became a millionaire, before she became, someone with hundreds of thousands of dollars even, she would always not be coveting or being jealous of other people with lots of money, but she would be, anytime another woman would have a win online, she would always say congratulations or something positive like that. Because she wanted to celebrate other women, because she also knew that God was going to bless her as well. And she didn't want to be in a poverty mindset, but she wanted to be in an abundance mindset and giving that blessing and abundance to other people, and just expecting that God was going to do something good like that in her life.
And speaking of wealth and poverty, what's the answer to our quiz question?
Paul said in 2 Corinthians 8 that Jesus Christ was rich for our sake, but for our sake became poor.
Yeah, for our sake became poor, which is something quite unimaginable. Which how many people do you know that were really wealthy, and then because they liked someone so much, they said, you know what, I'm going to give it all away just so for your sake. Because that's the best thing for you. Yeah. We don't really do that.
It's pretty unheard of.
Unheard of, pretty much.
Yeah.
But Jesus did just that for us.
Wow.
And guess what? He ended up, in his own estimation, becoming even wealthier because he not only conquered heaven back, God gave him the resurrection, but now
he's got all of us with him.
He has his sons and daughters back to him. So we can enjoy his presence and enjoy his love forever.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.